All right, we're back. This time it's a little different. We're not in the freezing cold in the elements outside in the garage, especially since, right outside my office right here, we got, I don't know, close to 12 inches or 8 inches of snow over the last 36, 48 hours. And, I don't really want to be out there in the negative temperature right now. So we're inside the home office. We're hammering through some details, and I need your help to solve, not to really solve, but to make a decision. The decision that we need to come up with is, do we want the airbox to be on the driver's side or the passenger side? I don't have, I'll go either way. I'm not sure what option is the best. I don't know the pros and cons to each one. I don't know the element of work that goes in each one. But what I'll do in this video is I'll lay it out for you, and I want your feedback. If you've done this before and you found one way easier than the other, or if you've you're researching it yourself. A lot of people have reached out to go over the different elements and different parts for this Hemi swap. And this also applies for the 5.7 because the 5.7 and the 6.4 are extremely similar to each other. And I'm going to use some creative computer stuff here to overlay my screen so I'm still like a talking head in the lower corner here. But I really just want advice. I don't know the option. I'm going to lay everything I know about the scenario out, and then I am leaning one direction, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, let's get right into it. And throughout this video, there's gonna be some times where I'm looking to different screens. That's just because I'm new to this. I've never actually done this type of video before. So with that said, I got my notes all prepared, and we are going to switch over to picture-in-picture here. Okay, so to start out with, I want to show the new website. This is sandsharkcustoms.com. The URL is literally sandsharkcustoms.com. And when you get here, you have links to social media here, but ultimately under projects, and this works great, I'm gonna have a list of projects that I work on with all the details. Obviously, we just have one right here, 2009 Jeep JKU 6.4 Hemi engine swap. So we click that, and we're just going to start building this. There's not a lot right here right now, but we're just going to keep building and make this a awesome resource that will help. If you're going to do it or you're thinking about doing a Hemi swap, this might be a great resource for you. It's going to be ongoing. It's going to be a living document. We want to see what we can produce here. So with that done, we can just go back to the home page, keep that up. All right, so let's first start with what the current 3.8 engine bay looks like. Bring this up here. All right, so this is a current 3.8 engine bay that has an aftermarket K&N air filter intake. So let me get this set up to edit. All right, here we go. So we got the, switch over here. We got the intake right here. We got battery back here. We got the TIPM right there. We have the power steering fluid down there. Obviously radiator across here. We got the overflow coolant bottle right there. We have actually the brake fluids right there. We have the computer that sits right here. And then we have the windshield washer fluid right here. So bone stock 3.8 out of the 2008 to 2000 or 2007, 2008 Jeep JK. It is on the passenger side is where the airbox is. So with that said, we know that in the new Hemi swap, we have really two options. We have to relocate the washer box over here and the overflow box, most likely, to this side, to the passenger side, in order to get the airbox to sit over on the driver's side. All right, so let's go look at a couple of the swaps from other companies that's out there. So we have AEV that does engine swaps. We got Jeep Speed Shop. We got America's Most Wanted. We got Dakota Customs. All these. And then I'm sure there's other shops that I just don't know that you can get kits from. And I would love to know other ones because I want to build out this resource. So if you know of other shops that do a kit, a DIY kit, I would love to know more about it so I can document it on our webpage. So either throw it in the comments below or message me on Facebook or reach out to me on Instagram. All right, so let's go ahead and minimize this screen. Let's start with Jeep Speed Shop. So this is the engine bay of a swapped 6.4 Hemi in a JK. And we can see right here, let me get my marker out, that the airbox is over here on the passenger side. Okay, so what is the difference here? We know that it probably has an aftermarket power steering pump or reservoir pump. I don't even know. I'm not very familiar with this setup, so I'm assuming that's the power steering. We have the overflow bottle right here. We have the computer, and I'm guessing right over here in the corner is the windshield washer fluid. Okay. Now, what is different about this engine is the intake manifold. So a stock intake manifold from an LX style 6.4 Hemi or 5.7, the front of the intake manifold comes out and shoots left, and then you have the throttle body, which is right here, about right around this area right here. This, I believe, is a modified intake where you actually send them your intake as a core, and they modify the front to put on to have it just come straight out, and then you can put the throttle body on it, and then this hose or pipe or tube, whatever you want to call it, can then come off the throttle body and go to the passenger side airbox area. Now, America's Most Wanted does a very similar thing to this. Let's look at another angle of Jeep Speed Shop real quick. So yeah, this was the windshield washer fluid right here. We have the power steering. We have the overflow, AC lines. All right, yeah, so this is just a better angle at this. And you can see, yeah, they really do cut back the intake manifold to be able to put on some sort of an adapter and then add on the throttle body for that tube to go off to the airbox on the passenger side. That keeps pretty much everything on the left side or the driver's side of the engine the same, which is nice. All right, so let's look at an America's Most Wanted engine bay. Here we go. Actually, let me get some of these minimized here. All right, so this one's actually just a screenshot of a YouTube video. But on here, you can see that you know what? This is not a America's Most Wanted engine bay. Nope. So forget this one. I don't know what swap video this is actually from, so I'm gonna get rid of that one. But I do know that America's Most Wanted does a very similar setup where they sell a modified intake manifold that allows it to go to the driver or the passenger side airbox. And while we're talking about that, let's look at, I have some numbers from America's Most Wanted. So I reached out to America's Most Wanted, and they're right down the road from me. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They are, just over in Detroit, just outside of Detroit, and it's maybe a 2-hour drive from my house to there. I also learned that AEV, who also does Hemi parts, and I'm sure that everybody's heard of AEV because they offer tons of stuff, is also just over in Detroit too. So it's kind of cool to have two big companies right in our neck of the woods. So let's look at some of the pricing here. So the challenge with keeping the airbox on the passenger side is that you have to have a modified manifold. And that is a little bit of a scary price tag. You can see right here from America's Most Wanted, they want almost $1,100 for a new manifold. And I don't know if that is reduced with the core charge of the manifold that you have or what, but man, that's another $1,000 price tag just for an intake manifold that you may already have with the engine that you bought. And then from there, you can see that we have the cold air intake. You know, that's basically just the filter, the actual air box, and then the tube that connects up to the line. And then they just also threw in that I would also need a PCV hose to make sure everything's connected up properly from that standpoint. But man, that's a pretty hefty price tag to do the intake manifold modification. So let's keep that on the back burner. I know that I don't necessarily want to dump that kind of money on there if there's another option. So let's go over what that other option is. What we can do here is minimize this. Let's look over here. This is the AEV swap right here. This is also where it goes off to the passenger side, and they use, you know, a very similar setup to what America Most Wanted and Jeep Speed Shop use. And I also know that Jeep Speed Shop has a working business relationship with America's Most Wanted, so I'm sure that you would see very similar stuff between the two. All right, let's go ahead and close this out. And let's bring up Dakota Customs. There we go. All right, so here's an example of Dakota Customs. They offer in their kit the ability to continue to use and this is where you can see right here. Let me get some markers out here. This is a stock intake where you can see that it comes out and shoots to the driver's side. And then this is just a stock intake throttle body. So with that said, what does it take to actually move the elements that were over here on the driver's side over to the passenger side? And I don't fully know the answer to that. I'm trying to just talk through it and get feedback from you because I do want to know the answer to this. And there's also a question about performance. So with the intake manifold, if you chop off this bend that you see right here, is there a performance hit or is there a performance gain? I don't know the answer to that. If you know it, please definitely let me know. That could help curve the decision. If we lose, say, I don't know, 40 horse or 25 horse or something like that, just by modifying this and sending it off to the passenger side, I may not choose to do that. So yeah, I just need to know the data to be able to make that decision. So let's look at this picture where stuff got moved to. We know that when we're ordering parts for the 6.4, we know that we need a power steering pump to go onto it because that's the only way that we can get the power steering pressure for the Jeep JK setup. So let me bring up, this is the power steering pump that I went with, and you can see that it has the reservoir connected right to it. We can see that in this picture, it is sitting right here. That is the power steering reservoir. So we don't got to worry about that because that's just attached right there and it fits nicely. So then we know we have the, let me zoom out here just a little bit. We have the windshield washer fluid issue, which they moved it right here. And we have the coolant overflow, which they built a bracket that holds it right towards the back to the firewall. Now, obviously, we would have to get extended tubing to make that, make that distance from the radiator back to there. But hey, it's a good location. We'll notice also that looks like we have a little open space up in front of the battery. Now, looking at this setup, they actually put the TIPM back here, fuse box TIPM, whatever you want to call it, and the battery in front of it. Now, the Jeep Speed Shop kit that I went with actually has the dual battery in the back and then the TIPM in the front. So that's that setup. All right, so then we have the air box fitting in right here with the simple tube that connects up the stock direction to the driver's side. Awesome. And we'll notice in this picture too, one of the radiator lines goes up over the fan shroud. I gotta learn a little bit more about that. So let's look at this air box and what does it cost to do this setup. I reached out to Dakota Customs and they provided some information on that. Let's go ahead and whoop. I don't know where it went to. Just a moment here. Okay, here we go. We got it back up. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit here. Okay, so this is actually their kit price list, but he actually broke down what I would need to essentially keep the correct intake manifold. I shouldn't say correct. Keep the stock intake manifold that shoots it off to the driver's side. Keep that. So let's look at this. He says we'll need a Can-N air filter housing, which I'm just gonna guess is the box, right? Air box right here, and then the air box filter ring. Not 100% sure what that is. It may be the tube and the connector to the throttle body. Not 100% sure if that's what it is, but we'll find that out a little bit more. And if you know the answer, please let me know. We need the airbox top, air filter, and then the washer bottle. Now, the washer bottle, which is right back here, I'm actually, for this time being, I'm not going to worry about the washer fluid at this second. I want to get the vehicle running, and I don't need washer fluid right at the moment. So let's just keep going with this. So what I'm thinking is, looking at this price tag, I'm sure I can hunt down an air filter for a better price than 107. Granted, that is, if I buy it from him, I just know everything connects and everything works. The airbox top, I'm not 100% sure if I need the airbox top yet. And I say that because, a lot of times you don't even see, you just see the filter right in there. You don't really have a top on there. Now, I am sure that this top probably helps direct the airflow in from a colder area to get cooler air into the engine. So we're gonna research that just a little bit here, and then yeah, that's about it. The rest is really just getting different extender hoses to route to the different locations. Now I do know that this must be a custom air overflow bottle right here. So I'll have to do a little research into that. Now I did get an overflow bottle with the JSS kit, which is actually this one right here, the metal one. So I'm gonna, maybe there's a bracket that I can put back here that will just fit, or overflow bottle over onto the left side, since I believe that we have some extra space to work with over there. Oh man, so many decisions. But adding it up, we're looking at kick over here. If I just went with the basic stuff to get rolling, I only really need right at the moment the air filter housing and this filter ring, which puts us at like $230. Plus, I'm gonna throw in another $100 worth of lines, and yeah, so maybe we're in it for 230 to go over to the driver's side with some, some relocation of some different items here. But man, that seems like a much better price than going with the intake manifold, which we can see right here. This is just one. Maybe we can get it cheaper other places, but from America's Most Wanted, I mean, $1,100 to have the new intake just to allow us to buy another, $400 cold air intake that brings it off to the passenger side. Oh, crazy. So many options. All right, so what I am going to do is I want to make sure I document both of them. So on the projects on the website, I'm going to make a whole section that's dedicated to both options. Now, I'm leaning, after telling you the pricing, I'm leaning to the Dakota Customs, the Dakota Customs setup, because it only makes sense that if this is all that we need, and maybe I just pick up the washer bottle anyways, just so I have it. It's only $22, and these might be older prices, so the prices might go up just a little bit, but yeah, I just might get it so I don't have to worry about it, and then I can figure out the rest as we go. But I'm gonna keep creating videos on it, and yeah, I want to see, I want to know what you guys know. If you've already made your decision on what you're gonna do, the pros and cons, the ideas that you've come up with to solve the different problems, I would definitely love to know. So with that said, I think that's all I'm gonna do for this video. Let me switch back to full screen here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can help provide some feedback to me so we can help make a final decision here. I'm posting this the day that I did this, and I hope you like this format too. I'm just brain dumping everything I can think of that has to deal with both sides and the the decision-making process and the research process that I do to actually make these decisions. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And yeah, remember, we're continuing to grow. Please like and subscribe to this video and check out the website. The website is going to continuously grow. I want feedback. I want as much content that I can put in there, because ultimately $28,000-$30,000 to have a shop do this, when if we get the right resources together, and the right documentation, we can, I'm hoping to be in this for sub $10,000 once we're done. And that's with the 8-speed transmission swap. So I also want to give a shout out to some people that helped provide content to this video. I haven't reached out to him yet to see if he's okay with me mentioning his name, so I'll mention it later in the future. But he's a Jeep guy based out of Florida. So thanks again for helping out, and let's continue this. Let's keep going. Talk to you guys later. Peace.